drogas y los calmamos lo suficiente como para llegar a casa.
Adios míos. I'm trying to learn how to speak Spanish, so I'm watching Cops in Spanish. What's up? Yeah, I shaved my eyebrows. Fuck, I don't know. I like the way it looks. Anyways, I just want to go ahead and hop in to this little vlog, journal entry, whatever. It's been a tough week. It's been a very difficult week for me. I made it through by the skin of my teeth, but I'm running out of skin on my teeth. I almost got fired Friday. Yeah. See, what had happened was I'm working at this station. They be downsizing us, so now it's just me and this person to my left. And we usually was two other people to my left, but now it's just this one other person to my left. And this station is the most difficult station on the factory floor. Fortunately, we're only there for an hour, but it goes like this. There's a bunch of plates on a conveyor belt that are coming out of this machine on the right that we call the maestro. The maestro is an automated system that pulls the viscera out of the birds as they pass through, and then they dump them onto this plate conveyor belt, and behind the plate is another conveyor belt with shackles where the carcasses are hanging by their feet. There's a degree of physical separation excuse me, physical separation so that there's no actual contamination. The birds go by at about 3 to 5 birds per second, and we have to scan quickly about 14 different imperfections that we're trained. Well, we're not exactly trained, but we're supposed to be trained to see. And one of them, the most common, is septic. The birds get septic on their journey from the feeding farms to the processing plant due to stress and other factors. It's something that just happens, and we handle it. And our system of removing the birds that are septic and keeping a tally mark of all of those carcasses that have that imperfection, it all works through both the company and the USDA. They work side by side. So I got a bird that was septic, and I put the bird, this was actually my fault, I put the bird on the plate to indicate this is, this is trash, it needs to be thrown out. The person to my left of me had a massive attitude kind of response out of nowhere and grabbed the bird, came over to me into my little area on the station, which you're not supposed to do. I'm not supposed to leave my area, they're not supposed to leave theirs. And there was a physical challenge aspect to it. Like they were bumping their body up against me and pushing me with their body and yelling why didn't I just throw the bird into the fucking there's a canal that goes throughout the entire area. The person was like, why didn't you just throw it out? Why didn't you just throw it out? Yelling at me and stuff like that, and fucking shoulder butting me and hitting me with their body. And it was I was completely caught off guard by this whole interaction. There was no reason for that violence. And I turned around, and there's this dude that was working. He was one of the maintenance workers, and he was washing his hands at the sink behind us, and he saw the whole thing, and he looked at me and was like, what the fuck was that? And I couldn't help myself. I just went, what the fuck was that? And I said this shit so loud that it went louder than the machines, and everybody looked up, and you could hear a pin drop. And then I was just like, oh fuck. And the supervisor was right there, and I was like, all right, I'm backing up. I'm not trying to cause a situation. Let's do this the right way. Went out, told him what happened from my perspective. He was like, you were not correct in putting the bird on the plate. I was like, okay, you know, like that's my fault, but that's not really the issue, the situation. There's a much better way to communicate and handle that all from this person. This person, um, yeah, there was no reason for that. And afterwards, I kind of got a little shut down on the inside because you know like I'm putting such an effort into this gig. Like I'm really putting an effort into this gig, and I've really given nobody any reason to come at me like that. But they still do, you know, and so I didn't want to work next to this person, and I stopped doing anything. I just stood there for like about 15 minutes doing nothing. And you know, the boss came up to me again, and he was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Can you move me? Because I'm not really wanting to be like working at this station with this person." And he was like, "Why don't you just go home?" And I was like, "Excuse me? Like I've been here for like a year and a half. Like I didn't say all this, but I was like, I've been there for a year and a half. I'm one of your hardest workers, and you're gonna let this person treat me like absolute shit. And if I have something to say about it, you're gonna like be like terminating my ass." He was like, I can't have you in my department if you can't work with who I put you next to. He's like, it's either you work with this person or you go home and we'll talk about it on Monday. And I was like, well, shit, I'm not going home. So, you know, I mean, I had to deal with that shit. And that was fucking annoying. My, one of the assistant supervisors was like, you only got 38 minutes left. And I was like, all right, fuck. All right, so I dealt with all that bullshit. And then afterwards, we had a meeting to talk about, like, the fact that the factory is downsizing our department specifically. And there's going to be a lot more pressure to perform. I mean, we're basically having to do more work and we're getting no more pay. And you know, he made several threats basically of like things are going to get more difficult now. They're watching you even harder now. We might take away your privileges to listen to your music now, and all this and all that. You know, and he was like talking about like everything that basically that I did wrong. You know, like I felt like the whole thing was like a low key attack on me or some shit. But I just, you know, I kind of sat there. I just picked at my nails. I just didn't really fucking like, you know, like I made all the right movements, all the right facial expressions, you know, and I was waiting for my moment, to be honest with you, because I wanted to address this situation that I had with this worker. And so when my boss was like done with the meeting, he said, "Are there any questions?" I said, "Yeah, I gotta say something." I said to this person, I was like, "I apologize for for how I came at you earlier. I was a little temperamental." And this person went off on me again. Went completely off. The person was like, "I'm 55 years old. You do not talk to me like that. You do not come at me like that." And yada yada, blase blase. And it was just like completely like shut, like just like I was, once again, I was just totally shocked by the way this person responded. I was like the absolute open hostility was just paralyzing. And this other dude was like sitting there next to me, this other coworker, and he was like, he's apologizing to you. And he goes, "Oh, and I appreciate it." And I was like, "You're 55 years old?" You know, I was like trying to get my digs in. And I was like, "You're 55 years old." And my boss cut me off. And he goes, "Hey, don't look a day over 22. And I was trying to say something more, but then this person goes, "That's right. And black don't crack." And like, I was like, whoa. I was like, even at that, I was like, dang, you're the only one that made it about skin color. So, you know, I mean, there is, as I said before, there's a bit of a complexity going on in this particular environment. But, you know, I'm gonna just kind of like buckle down, or whatever the kids say nowadays, double down on it, and just kind of get real fucking smooth. I'm gonna get real fucking smooth. I'm gonna be the smoothest mother. I'm gonna be smoother than a fresh jar of Skippy. And you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be fucking like precise from this point on. I'm not. I know that they're watching me. I know that they're like every week. I feel like they are looking for a reason to fire me because I am the only white boy on the floor, and I feel like there's a lot of racial discrimination. I feel like there's a lot of low-key sexual bullshit going on. I've heard rumors about this place that it used to be really, really, really bad with the sexual bullshit, though they've toned that down. But it's still going on. And, you know, I'm, in some manners and shapes and forms, I'm a recipient of that from, as I mentioned, one of my supervisors kind of comes at me in a sexual manner sometimes. Not going to get into all the details, but that was a big what do you want to call it, like a I don't know, my metaphors fail me. That shit definitely happened, and I don't really see any reason for any of that to happen. It's really a reflection on how ugly these people are on the inside. And, you know, I mean, everybody's got a bit of ugliness on the inside. You know, I'm no different. But I'm really not trying to, like, be confrontational with anybody. I'm certainly not going out of my way to be confrontational with anybody. Everything, all this toxicity exists in this workplace because, I mean, it's a toxic workplace, and everybody's quietly trying to get each other fired. Everybody's quietly trying to get each other to pop off. But every so often we do succeed in making each other laugh and, you know, throwing our bullshit out the window instead of at each other. But this person, she came at me hard with her bullshit, and there was like it was out of line. It was really out of line. And so now I get to look forward to dealing with working with her in that particular station for an hour every day. And that's making this already difficult, already monumentally difficult situation even more difficult for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck. But I've got no other options right now. So I'm just going to have to go through it. Shoot my way through it. Which I'll do. I'll keep you posted. Keep your social distance.